order to understand about labour, you must understand the role the hormones play, because this is fundamentally important to understand, because each hormone that you release actually assists you to open your body and to actually give birth. So let's start with the hormone oxytocin. Oxytocin is known as the love hormone, the hormone that is the feel-good hormone. It helps your uterus to contract intensely. It helps it to find that beautiful rhythm. Oxytocin is also responsible for the bonding that you have with your baby when your baby's born. It also is responsible for accelerating and speeding up labour when you're in an amazing place. And it helps to reduce the stress and anxiety because it helps you to feel like the lights are on and no one's home, in that loved up state. And this is why Ina May Gaskin, who wrote Spiritual Midwifery, states that with oxytocin and endorphins, that loving's what got the baby in there and loving's what gets the baby out. One of the best things you could do is have intimate time with your partner to try and stir yourself up to release more oxytocin and endorphins to get yourself into labour. So it's one of the best kept secrets of how you can induce yourself into labour naturally. It's through having sex. So that's how the baby got in there and that's how the baby's going to come out. So a huge amount of oxytocin is released when you kiss passionately, and also you have an orgasm or two or three. So that is one of the benefits of having those two hormones on board. It makes you feel all loved up. It also is responsible, the oxytocin, for women having orgasmic birth, where they feel like they're actually having an orgasm, particularly when they're fully dilated and they're pushing their baby out of their body. True story. So I've actually seen that happen, where women absolutely go to that place of ecstasy. In order for that to happen, though, you have to be completely free of the noradrenaline and the adrenaline, known as catecholamines, which work against you. So these are the hormones that don't serve you at all during your labour until the very end, when the adrenaline is then necessary to push your baby out of your body. That is when you want adrenaline on board. If you have adrenaline on board too early, like at the beginning of your labour, what ends up happening is it works against you, it puts you in fight flight. If you're going into labour stressed out and feeling negative and nervous and fearful, the adrenaline will build and override the oxytocin and endorphins working against you. It can slow your labour down and it can stall your labour. So that's when women are told they're failing to progress. That is because of adrenaline being produced earlier on in the labour, in the warm-up, when it shouldn't be produced then. You should be full of oxytocin and endorphins and riding that beautiful wave, that high, that's euphoric, that puts you up in that beautiful labour state where the lights are on and no one's home and you're feeling fantastic. That's where you want to be. So when women produce catecholamines, they literally want to run out of the room and they want labour to stop. Their body goes into survival mechanism. And once you start producing those hormones, it's very hard to come down from that adrenaline that's being produced. The only thing you can do is literally stall your labour, stop your labour, go and take a big sleep and see, once you get it established again, that you then go into oxytocin and endorphins. I've been with clients who have gone into labour, but they were very fearful. They were producing the adrenaline and literally they shut their labour off. They went and had a big sleep. And when they woke up, we took a different approach. I did a lot of hypnosis and that sort of thing to help my client get to the right place. and then they successfully went into labor with oxytocin and endorphins on board. So that's where that can really help. Now, with catecholamine production, it's you being your own worst enemy. It really is. And women can trip themselves up and self-sabotage their labour because of this. So as I said, failure to progress is one of the signs that you are producing catecholamines. You're fearful and you've got a lot of anxiety and stress going on. Sometimes the labour will be stop, start, or be very, very slow to get into established labour. You must let go and surrender. Surrender is the key here when that's the case. Sometimes your uterine contractions will be all over the place. So you'll be contracting 20 minutes apart, 10 minutes apart, half an hour apart. You won't actually find a rhythm. Some of the other signs that you might be producing catecholamines, adrenaline, that's going to work against you is you feel restless and agitated. You almost look like you're angry. Some women make loud noises straight away when they go into labour, and they move erratically. They're in constant activity. Their eyes are wide open, fully dilated. Often they've got high blood pressure. They certainly have increased intensity with the mildest contractions. So they're really feeling like 10 out of 10 when really potentially it's only like a 3 or 4 out of 10 in intensity. So that wave is like way above what their perception should be, because with the adrenaline on board, you're hypertensive, literally. And basically you can stall your labour and push it away, or it just all becomes too much and you'll go and have an epidural, and then potentially get on the cascade of intervention, and other interventions will follow. So catecholamines are not your friend at all in labour. So what we want to encourage is that beautiful oxytocin, so the love hormone. So you're feeling all loved up and orgasmic, and you're feeling just euphoric. Now, the endorphins also are natural pain relievers. So when they're produced, women feel high. They actually feel like they're on a high because endorphins act like natural opiates. They give you that relief from the intensity. They actually help you to drop your perception of the intensity. They help you to feel calm and more relaxed. They help you to progress your labour. They help you in so many ways. They help the body just to get on with the job in a calm, relaxed way. From Birthing From Within, Pam England and Rob Howitz, out of their book, they state that when the brain perceives pain, especially that of added stimulus or stress, endorphins are released. Endorphins are chemical compounds secreted by the brain and adrenal glands and have a pain-relieving effect 10 times more potent than morphine. So that's what endorphins do for you. They help you to feel that, what we call a runner's high. I used to run marathons, and you hit this point in the race where you would feel so high and you were just running with pure endorphins on board, and it was so euphoric. And women can get to that place when they're in labour as well. It also aids with dilation. Your endorphins help you to really progress very, very well with the dilation. And the more endorphins that are released, the easier it is to cope with labour. So the combination of the two hormones that really help you in labour are oxytocin and endorphins. Those two together are dynamite. They will keep you in that beautiful labour state. And that's really what you should be aiming for. Now, your support people are integral in keeping you in that state. So by stroking you, doing the soft loving touch, if you watch my YouTube video on the massage that works for labour, I teach about the soft loving touch in between the contractions, and that helps to increase the oxytocin and endorphins. They can talk to you calmly. They can have the lights down low in the room, nice soft music playing. So anything that stimulates you to stay in that beautiful place where you're feeling loved up, you're feeling supported 100% by your support people and the people around you. There's no threat around you, just lots of people supporting you in what your wants and needs are. That's fundamentally important. And then your endorphins will keep being released and your oxytocin as well. So as I said, the adrenaline and noradrenaline, fight flight hormones of catecholamines, they slow your labor down. They stall your labor. They do not help you at all. But the oxytocin endorphins also help with that bonding, that commitment to wanting to have a natural birth, the letdown of colostrum once you have your baby, that need for the skin to skin increases the oxytocin endorphins at the end of the labor. So really powerful for bonding and connecting and having your love hormones come up, and you hold your baby and you say, oh, I'm so in love. Look how beautiful this baby is. So it helps with the bonding and connection. That's really, really important post-birth. That's why it is so incredibly important that when you've just given birth to your baby, that your baby goes skin to skin on you as soon as possible. Because once you've been pushing your baby out, you have had a huge amount of endorphins, but also adrenaline being produced. So after the baby comes out, you want that to come down and the endorphins and oxytocin to come up with the bonding. So that balances out those hormones at the very end, which is really, really important. Now, one last hormone that I want to talk to you about on this video is the prostaglandins. Now, you excrete prostaglandins at the end of your pregnancy, which ripens your cervix, effaces your cervix beautifully. So your body produces that naturally. And this is potentially what triggers labor to begin. But what else triggers labor to begin is if you do have sex, sperm is a natural prostaglandin. So if you're under the pump to go into labor naturally, or you'd like to go into labor naturally, but you've got pressure on you from your care providers to be induced, and you want to beat the induction, so important that you have sex with sperm. So orgasm from both of you is the winning formula, 100%, to get your cervix ripened up, effaced even more, thinned out, paper thin, and ready to go. So don't underestimate prostaglandins in semen to help you. Prostaglandin is one of the most effective ways to really get that cervix ripened up. And a lot of women don't even realize. I know sex is not the thing that you really look forward to when you're so heavily pregnant, but it is a winning formula, and it can really help trigger you to go into labor naturally. So they're the hormones that are really, really important. Now, one last thing too is Ina May Gaskin writes in her book about the importance of protecting the neocortex of the brain, which is responsible for the thinking and feeling of a woman in labor. So when a woman is in labor, she should be in that beautiful primal oxytocinized state. Every time care providers or people ask a woman in labor questions, it takes her out of her neocortex of her brain, that primal part of her brain, into her thinking lateral part of her brain, which doesn't serve her at all, because she has to come out of being in deep labor where she's lights are on, no one's home, into this thinking state, which doesn't serve her well, to answer a question that the support people potentially could answer. So watch if you are exposing a woman that you are supporting, particularly if you're a support person. Watch if you're asking lots of questions of the labouring woman. The lights are bright and she's feeling very exposed and vulnerable. These are all the types of things that will literally put her out of her primal part of her brain into that neocortex where she's struggling to get back into that beautiful deep labor state of oxytocin and endorphins. So just watch that. Ideally, the support people, your role is to keep a woman out of that thinking part of her brain and calm, surrendering, letting go, out of catecholamine production. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. This is so fundamentally important. The hormones dictate what goes on in a labour 100%, no doubt about it. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I could tell you 100 stories where I have witnessed women with these hormones in labour. If you're loving this content and you do want some more stories, I've written a whole book on birth stories that is available on Amazon. I'll put the link below. Please give me the thumbs up. Please subscribe to this channel if you're loving my content. I'm here as a doula of 28 years, childbirth educator, author of 3 books. I'm here to share this content with you and knowledge and try and help empower you to have the most incredible labour journey and to birth your way, feeling empowered, well educated, and knowing what your choices are. So that's what I'm here to do, and that's why I'm creating this content. Make a comment below if you're loving this content. I would really appreciate that. And if you feel that you'd like to work with me one-on-one, I do one-on-one birth coaching as well. And I can help you with anything you might be fearing or stressing about at all leading up to your labour and birth journey. That's it from me today. Birth your way, love your way. Bye for now.